Welcome and thank you for joining us for Coffee with Hilary and Les, brought to you by State of Mind Hypnosis and Training Center, located in the heart of the Kawartha Lakes. This is our almost daily community podcast about the mind and how you might change it in the most simple and helpful ways. Every day we sit, staring at the lake and sipping our coffee, having a chat about hypnosis and how to make those meaningful adjustments to our state of mind. Because nothing is more important than your state of mind.
Okay, we're on the line.
On the line, ready to go.
What do you want to talk about today?
Well, as I mentioned to you just a few seconds ago, I thought we should probably do podcasts every once in a while that give people resources. And in this case, maybe books. Just talk about some books that might be useful in people's quest to understand themselves and understand others, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've found books extremely helpful in, starting to understand my soul and what other people have gone through. Those are kind of the ones that I like when other people have had experiences, and then they get to talk about those and help others.
Yeah, books are neat things because they rise above, they can get around the critical mind, right? When you pick up a book, you're inclined to think that the person who wrote the book is an expert. They might be just some goofball who's got a whole bunch of ideas and is putting them all in one place. But often we're inclined to be a little more scrutinizing and pick, authors that seem to have a background in what they want to talk about. Now I'm just referring to nonfiction books. Fiction books are just fun. They open your mind a different way, but nonfiction books that are helpful. Yeah, they come to us from an expert. And I think as a hypnotist, it's important to know that that's part of how they get around you. That's how they influence you, is because you start the process thinking they're an expert. And that's really how you get around the critical factor and get into the subconscious mind. Mm-hmm. So that's neat to just remember that while you're consuming books.
Yeah. And the idea that you're usually relaxed when you're reading a book, right? So that's another whole layer of how you go into hypnosis is you're relaxed and everything, that you want to be going through into your subconscious is. So.
It's wide open.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I always thought of myself as a pretty effective reader, that I was able to scan and decipher and read through things relatively quickly. And then I met you. And you're like a speed reader. Like if we were to read the same thing and say go, I'd be on page 3 and you'd be done.
Right.
And I just generally think I'm good and fast at that. But what goes on when you do that?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
No?
No.
Do your eyes move across the words or what happens? Is it done by touch? You go, oh, I get it.
No. I have no idea.
Do you think it affects
Sometimes
what
I
you...
have to reread.
Yeah?
Sometimes, yeah.
So I was going to ask you, does it affect sometimes how much you absorb?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. And my mind can wander easily. And then I go, oh, shit. Oh, can I say that on here?
To heck with them.
Yeah.
So reading. Reading is a neat way to get stuff in. It goes in differently than if you're talking. I know that when I read a book, like I have the habit of listening to books. For years and years, I did lots and lots of commuting, and I would consume books by listening to them.
Books on record?
Books on started on phonograph, and then they went to records, and then cassettes, 8-track tapes. Yes, on various media, I would play them in my car. And they even had books back then, so it was really kind of neat. They weren't on stone. Parchment, though.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, that's the way I would consume books. And quite differently, like I would listen to a book and then decide to go out and buy the book. And then I'd read the book physically, and it was a completely different experience. And they say that. They say that when you're thinking, any form of cognition, it relies on different parts of the brain matter, but it also, I think, is a different experience as a whole. So, yeah. How you consume books is, I think, should be in as many ways as possible. You know, I like watching movies too, documentaries and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you have a book that stands out to you?
Well, right now I'm listening to The Mind and the Brain, Neuroplasticity and the Power of Mental Force by Jeffrey M. Schwartz and Sharon Begley. And I'm listening to that right now, and it's one of those that I like because there's this huge battle out there right now for scientific materialism that is resisted by a lot of the brain and scientists, neuroscientists, and psychologists and psychiatrists. They're having... You know, there's this battle. Neuroplasticity, in short, is being defined as being able to change your brain through thought. Mm-hmm. And the mechanistic, materialist view of the mind is that it is the creation of the brain. So the mind being the product of the brain, how does it have the ability to go back and literally change the physiology of the thing that's supposed to be creating it? Yeah. And that's, you know, this book is just focused on OCD and studies that are related to OCD that span everything from behaviorism to positive psychology. And yeah, it's neat. I think it's a great debate. I think it's really worth, I think it's really worth questioning how we think. Where do my thoughts come from? You know, we like to say, and that'll be our reframe of the day, I am a mind. But you could shorten it by saying, I am mind. Or you could shorten it and say, I am of mind. Don't know if that's shortening it, but it's... Yeah, what is the mind? Where does it come from? Uh-huh. These are, I think, really, really powerful questions that science has no absolute answers. So that's one of the books I'm enjoying right now. Yeah. What about you?
Well, it's funny, as you were talking there, I thought somebody, when I was a teenager, somebody asked me, what are thoughts? And I had already a predisposition to not really kind of like this person. And so that question just annoyed me. And I just didn't understand it, of course. And now it's my life. What are thoughts, right? That's what makes up my life. But as for books, my life is very is based on spiritual growth in hypnosis and out of hypnosis. I think yours is too, Les. And so my books are all kind of around that. So I think about when I first started down this path, a pivotal book for me was Dying to Be Me by Anita Moorjani. And that book really, really paved the way for me to delve into all the different kinds of spiritual type things that were happening around me, to me, that were going to happen in my life. And it really, it's really amazing. She goes from stage 4 cancer to dying to coming back and having no cancer within a matter of months, or shorter. And she just talks about her journey, and it's just absolutely incredible. And so that's where I just cut this part out.
We are more than our bodies.
Yes. Yeah. We are more than our bodies. And I had, spiritual type experiences over the years. But I just didn't understand them or know where to categorize them or know who to talk about them to. And after reading her book, it just sort of, expanded my mind and my ability to connect with others about the same sort of things. Start my life down that path, because that's where it was eventually going anyway, no matter what.
Yeah, I often think about those those games where they're just little toys. I think they were invented in ancient China or something, and you just, using a lever, you fire a ball up to the top and then it tumbles down and it bounces off different things and spins through things and it slowly makes its way down. And absolutely positively, it's going to hit the bottom. Exactly where it hits the bottom, you're not sure.
Yeah.
And that's the way I think of destiny. Destiny is, it's going to happen. What happens along the way, that can vary, that you can impact that. In the end, you're going to hit the bottom.
Yeah.
So, what's the name of that one again?
Dying to Be Me by Anita Moorjani.
Cool. One of the ones I always recommend, I lend this one to clients all the time, and I don't know where it is right now. Whoever borrowed it, please bring it back.
It's probably me. What is it called?
It is by Richard Bach. Richard Bach is a writer. He wrote a lot in the 70s and 80s. He was a pilot. Almost everything that he wrote related to flying. And he also wrote Jonathan Livingston Seagull and other books, Illusions, The Adventures of a Reluctant Messiah. But this one's called Hypnotizing Maria. That's the name of the book, Hypnotizing Maria, by Richard Bach, B-A-C-H. And essentially the book just sort of lays out how from the instant you're born to the time you move on, everything is just a process of hypnosis. Everything is a suggestion, either accepted or rejected. And it's just a neat little book. It's a tiny book. My buddy Brian showed it to me years ago. I've read it 3 or 4 times now. It's really easy to read. But if you want just a simple book, a fictional book, Hypnotizing Maria.
Yeah, that was a good book. I went through that pretty fast.
Yeah, you probably read it in 5 minutes. Boom. That was like a brochure, she said.
Yeah. Oh my.
Got another one?
One that I always love is Your Soul's Gift, or I think it's called, I hope I don't get this wrong, Your Soul's Plan. There's 2 of them by Robert Schwartz. Mm-hmm. Those were just, again, pivotal. I read them around the same time, actually, as that Dying to Be Me by Anita Moorjani. And they basically go through a regressionist, a hypnosis practitioner who specializes in regression to the interlife, life between lives. It takes people there and finds out why they signed up for things in this life. Why did I sign up for a divorce, or why did I sign up for a sickness, or why did I sign up for, this, that, or the other thing. The big things in life that we go, oh my gosh, those are pivotal. Those are pretty pivotal things in life. So he takes them there, and they understand where that's coming from and why did they set that up for themselves, and then the lessons of that and understandings of it. And a lot of it is very applicable to what would you say, it's very applicable to if you're going through that kind of thing. You can kind of see elements of all that is talked about, even though it's not you can see the elements in your life of how that could be, why we came here with that intention to go through that, and what the lessons and challenges are and understandings.
Yeah, I was talking about this kind of thing with someone the other day, and it's just, I think that it's universally true that when you begin a journey into your mind, when you begin an investigation into your mind and who you really are and why you do what you do, it is inevitable that it becomes some kind of journey into a broader understanding of who and what we all are. And there's just so much down there in our minds for us to access and spend time with and discover. And yeah, Robert Schwartz is one of those guys, I admire him. He's got what appears to be a really, really clear calling, and he just helps people investigate their life between lives, the reasons they came here, the reasons they assembled the team that they have, what they're trying to accomplish, what lessons they're trying to learn. And it's when we use hypnosis, we discover these kinds of things. We bump into past lives. We bump into this time between lives. It's pretty amazing stuff. So, yeah, Robert Schwartz. Do I have another one? I have another one. I guess just about anything by Dr. Joe Dispenza is a great little tool. Joe Dispenza, he doesn't use the word hypnosis much in his books, but it's there. He really certainly talks about the power of the mind, and what's great about him is that he bases everything. Well, he's gone from being, I think he started his medical life as a chiropractor, but he's become a neuroscientist, and he really focuses on the power of the mind and uses MRIs, functional MRIs, to determine I guess, he looks for correlations within the brain together with mental states. And, he's really articulate in explaining how a thought can become a mood, and a mood can become an attitude, and an attitude can become a personality. And that's how we get to who we are. It really begins with thought. And when you change or deliberately attempt, and maybe that's another refrain today, I can choose what I think. When you attempt to think differently, paying attention to how you think, that metacognition idea, you can really change subtle aspects of your personality to the point where with practice and time, 2 years from now, people will say to you, I don't know who you are. I've had that experience with self-hypnosis where I've really put in deliberate periods of time in my life where it was 3 times a day, every day, and had those kinds of reactions from people like, wow, you seem really different. Or, one person said to me once, who are you and what have you done with Les? So I really like just about anything by Joe Dispenza.
Yeah.
Got
Well,
a final one, or are we done for the day?
I think we gotta go because we're having a puppy play date this morning, and I think they're almost here. So I gotta grab another coffee and...
All right. Well, we'll talk about events next time. Please send questions. info@somhypnosis.com. We're always here. We're always wanting to hear from you. And whatever you suggest for podcast topics, we'll try to do our best to make it happen.
Absolutely. Okay. See you next time.
All right. We hope you enjoyed today's podcast and that maybe it helped, even a little. If you have any questions, we would love you to send them along in an email to info@somhypnosis.com. Thank you for being part of the State of Mind community. And for more information about hypnosis and the various online or in-person services we provide, please visit our website, www.somhypnosis.com. The link is in the notes below. While you're there, why don't you book a free 1-hour journey meeting with Hilary or Les to learn more about what hypnosis is and how you might use it to make your life what you want it to be. Bye for now.